April 30th, 2020. Thought I'd do a quick update on the garden. The tomato plants are growing quite well. I was expecting a little longer. I might start selling these this weekend. So that will make hopefully all tomato plants just about ready for sale. I still have to fasten up my tomato cages and get them planted. These will be the cherry tomatoes. I've been doing some weeding. Still looking to hit this corner sometime soon. Onions are up here. There is some wild onions in with that. Potatoes were frostbitten 3 times. They are up, looking quite nice. This will be the pole beans. They should be coming up in a few days. I planted them 2 days ago. So yes, I have been planting the garden. Cabbage plants went in possibly a week and a half ago. They're basically pretty much sitting there working on growing roots. Some of my early corn, I still have to pick up my cups. It was getting dark, cold the other night, so I quit. This one looks the best out of all of them, but you don't give up on your plants. They will, in most part, recover on their own. Started planting eggplants. This is a new breed. I haven't got my tag out here yet. This is Eisenberg. These are my white eggplant. An idea of how much rain I have just gotten. There's my finger. Probably a good 2 inches there. Rudger tomatoes have been planted. Replaced one of those, quite possibly due to a cutworm. Volunteer bean up already. Detroit beets. This patch has been planted as well as another. Carrots here, they have been planted. I'm not sure. I believe I planted some peas down the middle on the fence. Potatoes are on the other side, are coming up. Sorry, my shadow keeps getting in the way this direction. Tomatoes started going in here. The last square won't be planted yet. They're still waiting on those tomatoes. This tomato patch is doing quite well. I planted this one first. The jugs were over it just in case of a last frost. High winds have blowed most of those around. And as you can see, this is last year's potato patch. You do not always get your potatoes all dug, and mine continually come up volunteer. Some more pole beans coming up. My bell peppers are in on this side. I skipped the onions for now. More potatoes from 2 years ago, as well as the onion patch this year and the potatoes from 2 years ago. The onions seem to have enjoyed this rain. This wire will get lowered down any day that I have time now to keep all the plants standing upright so they don't fall over. Onions will ripen once the stems broke, so by doing that I can ripen the onions when I want them to ripen. Sometimes they give me no choice, but for the most part it does slow down the process a little bit, giving me more of a picking time. Tomatoes here have just started being planted. I've still got to go through how many kinds I have. This here would be the mortgage lifter. I put in 4 of those. These are carrots from last year. I left a few. They will more than likely go to seed, and I can harvest my own seed. Onions along the outside. I got way too many red onion bulbs, so hopefully I'll have lots of red onions this year. Volunteer lettuce is back up again this year. I still need to plant some, but I still haven't planted lettuce. There's quite a bit more down here. The black raspberries doing nicely. Still expecting to remove this plant completely, killing it, leaving only one. These smaller plants go over to the black raspberry patch. Strawberries are now coming up volunteer. Rabbits have been eating off some of the leaves. The babies have left the garden, and more rabbits are now coming in and eating again. This is a beet patch. Looks like some beets starting to come up now. Thought these were beets the other day as they were starting to sprout. These are tomatoes from last year. Strawberries. Still several blooms. A lot more blooms on the ones that was covered with plastic. They didn't get eaten as much. We'll see how they do for size of berries. Cabbage plants and brocas and everything are doing quite nice. They weren't planted very long ago and have already outgrew many of the ones that I planted indoors. Garlic growing nicely. I do have some about everywhere now, but this is the original corner. I didn't replant it. It just comes up from the ones I missed. A new strawberry plant. See how those go this year. Grapevines are beginning to get ready to bloom. Lots of materials for expanding the garden still laying around. I have gotten these all planted, doing great. This is the second tomato plant that's been eaten, most likely by a rabbit, so I'll have to replant that one. The jug blew off of this one, and it was eaten the first night. So we'll see how all this works out. I will have to be cleaning up the area so that the rabbits won't have no place to hide. This is my tomatillo, and the reason I was stopping talking there for a moment is this is my tomato patch, and it has 2 or 3 tomatoes missing from here already. Looks like 2. And down here, this one's doing fine. This will be cleaned up through here, and 2 more plants will be planted along this area. Lots of honeysuckle that's going to have to be chopped back and kept from coming this direction. Well, there goes a baby rabbit. Or I couldn't catch him quick enough. That is one of the young ones that grew up in my garden. Blackberry, gonna have to get it dug out. I missed these few plants. There is a hickory tree, lots of those grow. Some herbs, I've got to get this herb garden cleaned out and get the herbs planted soon. But due to animals, due to the weather, due to everything, you just take it as you go. Apparently I did plant some eggplants in here. I'd already forgotten that. This one is already missing. So, no, I'm sorry, right there it is. The wind has blown it over. So, a couple more beds of eggplants and they will all be in. Some more garlic growing. More potatoes coming up from last year. This is again a tomato patch. We'll find out how the tomatoes and the potatoes do together. Bins they're not supposed to be planted together. But that's a quick update of the planting. Sweet corn from seed, I'll wait a little longer before planting that. Melons, I will wait a little while. Cucumbers, I have got them planted already. That is one of the large patches of cucumbers. I need to put away a lot of pickles this year. The squash I may be planting soon. This is some volunteer squash, most likely orange crooked neck that came up. So I'll probably thin out a few of these and put them somewhere and see how they do. Water everywhere. I grew some loofah indoors. Not going to walk down there at the moment, get my feet wet right off the bat. But they are planted in that area there. Farther on, the red raspberries have been pruned up and are growing nicely. So, leaves still in the bags. I'll have to still get them dumped out where I want them soon. Gooseberry plants doing great. But that will be the update for this week.